my goodness! What a final! All three drivers jockey for position up to the jump. Gempire has the edge, but Sam tries desperately to climb his way over his superlift. Grey Wizard pushes back, and it's the longest slide I've ever seen at the trail. He loops his Jeepster at the pond, and with the assist from Sam Hall, crawls across the line just in front of Gempire. Sam doesn't have enough momentum to make it over the little hill, and he stalls out. Oh my god, that was incredible.
Yup, this thing's over. Monstar pulls a little trick move after the jump, allows Numbskull and Ragtag to get by because he knows it's all over. Numbskull gets across the line first, but it's little consolation due to the fact that Monstar will be your Freezy 500 champion.
And Piper may have just played spoiler for Numbskull. They're pretty equal as they hit the first whoop in the course, and then they come together in a flying V format that sees Numbskull get pinched off, and Milestones head for the finish line. Only Milestones whiffs it. The judges are looking at the replay, seeing whether or not he's actually going to get a full pull for that last run. We're going to have to wait and see how that math works out, because I don't know who won. I don't know if it matters if Milestones cross the line or not. He's definitely not crossed the line there, but we're going to have to wait and see what the judges say. And as if there was any doubt, Grumpy Cloud puts his stamp on this final with one last run. It's a statement race from Grumpy Cloud as he pulls it up in front of your hosts. Welcome back, everyone, to a very special year-end tournament. I'm your host, 905. I'm Ajax.
And I'm Indy Rain.
And tonight, the best of the best duke it out to see who, in fact, is the best.
We've lined up the winners from all the tournaments that we've run this year.
And we're going to run them down the trail one more time until there's only one driver left. This is the Lakeridge Heights Race of Champions. This is the victory lap.
Representing for the Jeep Jamboree, we've got the Grey Wizard, Doc, and Blank.
Arriving from a racetrack far, far away, it's Monstar, Ragtag Jim, and Numbskull number 1. These guys made a really big deal out of the wheelie big race. It's Numbskull number 2, Maurice Milestones, and Arlo.
And from the tournament that just recently wrapped up, we've got Grumpy Cloud, Blake, and Puff.
We're going to shuffle the deck with these 12 cars so that nobody has to race against somebody they already raced against.
And if you're not familiar with how we run things at the Lakeridge Heights, we're going to run our standard rules. So, we've grouped everybody into groups of 3. They're going to have 3 runs per group, and the top 6 will move on to the next round. There's 10 checkpoints along the trail, each worth 1 point. You'll get an extra point if you beat everybody else to the last checkpoint. The top 3 in points after round 2 will make the 6th lap free-for-all final.
Group 1's ready, so let's see who pulled the ace. From the Jeep Jamboree, it's Doc from Doc Speed Shop in his Jeep Wrangler JK. He was first in the snow course with 4 race wins and 56 points overall.
Enjoying his newfound freedom after winning the Freezy 500, it's Monstar from Grumpy Cloud Racing and his Bad to the Blade. His 147 points and 7 race wins led him to the championship.
And joining these two with his best in show car from the wheelie big race, it's Arlo from Arlo Racing in his Big Air Bel Air. He did score 36 points and 3 lap victories.
This was a great idea, Ajax.
Thank you very much. Let's get this party started. It's up to the top for race 1. And it's Doc who draws first blood. All 3 drivers are seeing the ramp for the first time, so it's interesting to see how each of the 3 individual setups react to it. It initially looks like all 3 cars are going to be successful, but as they come off the jump, you can see how Grumpy Cloud gets kicked sideways and how Arlo gets a little twitchy. Doc, on the other hand, has a nice straight line down the center of the course, as he avoids Arlo, who's struggling to maintain control of his Big Air Bel Air, and Monstar, who's got himself into the berm and flipped himself over.
Doc's Jeep doesn't miss a beat, and he pulls it across the line for 11 points. The overhead shows just how good of a run that was for Doc.
Randy, I don't know what language Monstar speaks, but I'm pretty sure that's the intergalactic sign for don't scratch my paint.
And even though Doc's last race was in the snow, he still finds a way to get across the line for maximum points.
This is a battle won by somebody who proves they want it more than the other. Arlo and Monstar both come down the top half of the course, wheel to wheel, and Arlo runs Monstar into the guardrail, and that rubs enough speed that he just explodes off the jump. Doc is in hot pursuit of this duo, and it looks like he got a lick in on Monstar as well on the way by. Arlo's across the line for 11 points, and Doc comes in for a big score with 10 as well.
As Monstar still tries to figure out this jump, Doc and Arlo are starting to run away from him.
And consider this an opportunity lost for Monstar. All three cars get a fantastic jump after the gate drops, but then it looks like Doc doesn't want Arlo to get any more points than him, so he takes him out just before the jump. Monstar, on the other hand, has zero excuses as to why he did not make that jump. I don't know whether he got bogged down in the snow or what, but he should have done better there. Doc gets Arlo right at the end of the guardrail, but unfortunately that rubs him out as well. The real story is how Monstar could not make the jump and effectively ends the lap.
Arlo, we might need to install a safety hatch so you can get out easy from your car there, bud.
In the end, not much separated Doc and Arlo. However, I think it's the end of the road for Monstar.
What a way to open up this tournament. Not a lot separates Doc and Arlo, but I think that's going to be a common theme here.
You're probably absolutely right, 905.
When you've got the class and caliber of the race car and driver that we've got here, you can expect some pretty tight racing.
Speaking about racing, let's find out who's in group number 2.
The second Jeep Jamboree entry is the Grey Wizard from Blue Ribbon Diecast. His Jeepster scored 86 points with 6 race wins on his way to winning the whole thing.
The next driver was so close yet came up short. It's Blake from Underdogs Unleashed in his beautiful Ferrari GTO. He scored 122 points on his way to runner-up in the supersized supercar tournament.
And rounding out this group, it's Numbskull from Numbskull Racing. His Sweet 16-2 placed third in the Freezy 500 with 135 points and 9 race wins.
That's a pretty solid group right there. Who you got your money on?
I'll take Blake and his GTO.
That Numbskull ride was awesome.
All right, I guess I'm taking the Grey Wizard. Let's go up to the top for race 1.
Looks like the Freezy cars are going to have a bit of a time with this new ramp that we installed. Numbskull's car, which was rock solid in the Freezy 500, can't find his way around Blake. They pull up short into the gap, which allows the Jeepster of Grey Wizard a free run at the course. However, the Grey Wizard gets unsettled after the jump, which puts him into a tailspin, skidding down the bottom half of the course. We've seen the Jeepster spin out before in the Jeep Jamboree, but this time his wheels dig into the berm just before the pond, and that puts him up on his lid, which effectively turns his Jeepster into a curling stone.
Track's a little bit different from the last time you've been on it, Wizard. Don't let me down, I got a moose burger riding on you, bud.
Grey Wizard takes an early lead, but there's plenty of racing left to go.
And it's Grey Wizard's turn to take a run at Numbskull. The Jeepster certainly hasn't lost any speed since the Jeep tournament, but his run is cut short by a pesky numbskull who just won't get out of the way. Looks like Numbskull taps the brakes to let the Grey Wizard go by, but the Grey Wizard just catches the end of the guardrail and that kicks him sideways. Unfortunately, he loses all of his momentum and dumps it into the gap.
You know what? I think I'll share my moose burger with whoever crosses the finish line first.
The time for cat and mouse is over, boys. It's time to put up or shut up. Let's go get her.
Now that's what we're talking about. This was a great run from start to finish for each of these drivers. Grey Wizard kicks sideways out of the gate, but he gets it under control, and he beats Blake to the jump by a bumper. They all come down over the ramp, and it's the Grey Wizard who gets a little sideways again as soon as he lands. He's going to have to get that thing under control if he wants to go far in this tournament. Blake and Numbskull both add to their scores as they come across the line for 10 points.
Yeah, now that's what I'm talking about. You want fries or onion rings with your burger?
And with that exciting finish, the Grey Wizard shows that his Jeepster is still a major contender.
Well, that last race was something else.
It sure was, and if the scores for the first 6 drivers are any indication of how the rest of this tournament's gonna go, you really can't count anybody out.
For sure, because we all know how much of a luxury comfort is around here.
Well, that's subjective, but I know all of our drivers are gonna be anxiously awaiting next week.
It's not just the racers who are going to be excited for next week.
I suppose you're right on that
I'll
one.
get you up there.
Okay, guys, I gotta go. I gotta go meet Grey Wizard up for that moose burger.
Seriously, you're doing that now?
Yeah, you wanna finish this up so that we can go join him?
Okay. This has been the Elevation Trails Victory Lap Tournament from 905 Diecast. It's been an awesome year, and now I'm gonna go get a moose burger. So, I've been your host, 905. If you like what we do, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching, and for the love of Diecast, keep racing. And if you think you'd like to get into diecast racing, head on over to redlinederby.com. It's your online resource for everything you need to know about this sport. Redline Derby Racing. Toy cars, real racing.